Turn it up in the headphones a little bit. Beauty is imperfection, it's tried, true, and tested. Took me a while before understanding the message. I had to master the method and stop the passive aggression by passing all of the lectures and testing. Sorry, professor, got a lot on my mind. Guess I heard college drop out too many times. Yeah, all falls down through the wire and get them high.
Man, so we just finna sit here and just kind of talk about like your journey, bro. As far as like the beginning, but people don't probably most people don't know. Like you was playing ball, hooping, trying to make the hoop dreams come alive, and then we're gonna go all the way to today, like being a designer, the fashion show, the amazing fashion show we do. First, craziness, first of January 2022. But let's just start, bro. Just introduce yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you?
Cool, I'm Huey. Who am I? I'm Huey from Houston, Texas. That's it.
All right, Huey from Houston, Texas. So just the beginning, bro. What was you doing before like this dream or idea to be a designer started? Like, who was Huey?
All right, who is Huey? I would say prior to like designing and stuff like this, for sure, I was playing ball. I was hooping. I was doing that my whole entire life. At one point, that was all I saw, you know what I'm saying, as far as like for myself in the future. You said like the dream of like being a designer, that was never like a dream. It's kind of something that just happened, and then I'm here now, and it's something I'm pursuing.
With ball, bro, like, cause I remember, well, memory's not too great, but like, I know we had conversations in the past, but like, first time we kind of linked was like YMCA days. Like, we was young. We was young, and I'm just like African kid, you know what I'm saying? Don't really know what's up, but like, it was funny because after a while, years later, like when we got into high school, we started linking up a lot, like on hoop shit. Like, we work out together, like 2 a.m. in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you feel like, you know what I'm saying, that mindset and that mentality like transferred over to what you're doing right now?
I would say hooping, especially YMCA days. YMCA days, they were like, let me see. How my YMCA days went was I was walking to the YMCA every single day, staying up there all day, leaving, going to the corner store, coming back, being up there all day again, especially summers, right after school you was going, all of that. So that was kind of where I spent majority of my time as far as like the early days of hooping and things like that. And I would just say kind of just being in the gym all the time and things like that, that kind of showed me like, that instilled the mindset of like, all right, if you want something and you're trying to pursue something, it's going to be a journey, and it's something that you're going to have to like get up and get after on a consistent basis. So I would say, you know, that led to kind of really just how I approach life, period. Like outside of designing, where everything is like, you know, you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have, even with designing, like it ain't easy. You know what I'm saying? Like you face your battles with it. You got stuff going wrong all the time. And it's just like, all right, cool. I got an end goal. So pretty much like, that's what I have in mind. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm seeing. So I got to keep it going. You know what I'm saying? Despite any obstacle that's coming. So from basketball, that's probably like one of the biggest life lessons it taught me outside of just designing, period.
For sure. Shit, I know we, you know what I'm saying, faced a lot, kind of trying to chase that, and I know that definitely transcends into a lot of stuff that we doing now. So I always have this thought, like, back in them days, like, we were never seeing where we at now. Like,
nah, for sure.
Huey back in the YMCA days and the bar days was not looking like, oh, I'm gonna be a designer. And it's crazy how like that happens though. Like somewhere along the way, you just kind of, like it's not working. I gotta find something else, figure something else out. Sure. What was like? I'll start with this. Like, what first and foremost drew you into like basketball? Like, what was that first spark?
With basketball, I would say, when I was young, somebody who was like one of the closest people to me, like really super early ages, was my cousin. And he was pursuing basketball, and he used to take me to the park with him, and like I still got those memories, you know what I'm saying? But like young memories are just like, okay, they kind of spotty. You know what I'm saying? You remember like a little small situation and stuff like that. So I remember like being at outside courts with him, sitting watching him play. And this is like 5 years old, stuff like that, super young. So I would say, you know, he was somebody that was really like close to me, near dear, all that. And he ended up like having cancer and stuff like that. And he ended up passing in the early 2000s. So like for me, basketball, I love basketball, you know what I'm saying? Watching him play and things like that. And just playing for myself as a kid. And I got into playing for myself. And then, you know, like a love for it came. And then like when he passed, and it kind of like changed my life forever. You know what I'm saying? Some one of the closest people to you, especially when you're that young, something you got to go through like that. It was tragic. And seeing him not be able to pursue his dream, you know what I'm saying? It became like, okay, it was already my dream, but it came like, all right, I'm pursuing not just for myself, but I'm pursuing because that's a part of me as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's where like the love of it kind of just took it to a whole nother level, because I really wasn't just playing for myself no more.
Yeah. No, that's amazing, bro. I mean, not a similar story at all. Like for me, ball just was like a way to get out, like just escape my reality. And like, you know, it taught me a lot, like perseverance, hard work, what hard work can get you. Like I went through a lot with it too. But same way like how you saying you had somebody that kind of like got you started in it. You know what I'm saying? Like same way with me. What got you started into like designing? Like what was that transition? Like was it somebody? Was it something?
I'm gonna say it's not like no specific thing. I feel like so much played. Like when I look at myself now, and I be like, all right, how did I even end up here? Like thinking about the stuff I was doing prior is like, it don't really add up. You know what I'm saying? But like seeing where I'm at now is like, and I be looking back at my life and like certain experiences, certain stuff I liked and loved and I was into growing up, it makes sense now. You know what I'm saying? Like from even the passion. Like I feel like with fashion for me, it started with sneakers. Especially growing up as a kid, we was wearing uniform and stuff like that. So it's like that was how you got off. You know what I'm saying? Your shoes was everything. And you know, for me, I was big on Jordans. My first pair of Jordans was French Blue 13s. I remember them to this day. Like I wore my pair, my feet grew. That was the first pair my mama bought us. When my feet grew, my brother feet grew, and he grew out of his. I grew into his. You know what I'm saying? So like loving Jordans and being super into, you know, retros and all of that stuff coming out. I was one of those kids who was like on 23 is back all the time. I'm on 23isback.com all the time. I'm on Nice Kicks. I'm on all this stuff like this early 2000s, this long time ago. So that kind of introduced me, like the sneakers is what introduced me to like that world. You know what I'm saying? And you start having stuff like, okay, you got the sneakers, then that led to like pushed you to websites like Karma so you can get a shirt to Master J. So it's like, okay, now I'm on Karma and I'm going from page to page to where I'm seeing this stuff and like, oh, I'm liking this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, at the time, like, I feel like back then, everybody who was like super into stuff like that, you probably couldn't afford it. You know what I'm saying? Your parents wouldn't buy it for you and stuff like that. But you knew about it and you was hip to it. And I feel like that was for me, especially when it came to like stuff like Babe and being into, okay, when the first Yeezys came out, when he was with Nike and stuff like that, just being super into that stuff, like couldn't afford them, but it was like, all right, I'm going to print them out and I'm hanging them on my wall. They in my binder, going to school and stuff like that. So the shoes introduced me to the world of like clothes and stuff, because at school, we was just wearing shoes. We was have a fresh pair of Dickies on, collar shirt, boom, you had your shoes. So I would say that introduced me to it, like the J's and stuff like that. So
It's dope, bro. It's dope. It's definitely like when you look back and you look at like those little moments that didn't mean nothing. You see where you landed at now. Yeah, it means a lot now. So bro, like before this drop that you had, you started the brand. That transition of getting into designing and stuff, you have to learn, you know what I'm saying, a whole new set of skills, right? Sewing, measurements, like fit, all that kind of thing. Like what would you say was the learning curve for you? Like how did that feel in like going away from like something as physical as ball to like, you know, it's really like you sitting here like probably reading books, watching YouTube, and you really like doing like really fine, you know what I'm saying, art things, like trying to sew and stuff like that. Like what was the learning curve for you?
As far as like time,
Yeah. What was that process like for you? Like thinking back at it now, how did you feel in that moment, and like how you feel about it now?
um, I was super into like, how can I say this? I won't say it based on like a learning curve as far as time, but I could say the process because as far as time, I'm still learning. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still getting better every single day and things like that. So I won't just kind of say like, all right, it took me a year or 6 months or 2 years, something like that. But I say, my process was just trial and error, to be honest. I remember when I even came up with the idea that I was gonna get into clothes was, right after leaving school and stuff like that, realizing I wasn't gonna hoop no more. And it was like, all right, what else do I like? You know what I'm saying? I wasn't somebody who was like, I knew I was never gonna go work a job, like nothing against jobs, but I just knew I couldn't take that route. You feel me? So I was like, all right, let me find something else that I'm into. And then that was the only other thing I was into was okay, dressing and things like that. Even when I was in school playing ball, like I remember it's probably about to be long winded, but I remember when I transferred into college. I transferred mid semester and I was going to Navarro. And I transferred in and all the basketball players, they used to wear sweats and stuff to class and things like that. I came to school like wardrobe, you feel me? Like I came to school, I'm getting dressed every day. Like we got class, I'm new fit, like I'm getting them off. Like and they used to be asking me like, bro, why you get dressed every day? Like we just going, like you walking out your dorm and walking across the street to go to class. And it was just something I was into. And then I saw how that started to influence the whole team to where it was like my roommate, he started making sure, you know what I'm saying? He online with me, whatever, like you getting your refund, whatever, we trying to buy clothes, like, you know what I'm saying? So, and the whole team got into it to where it was like people was getting dressed all the time, going to class and stuff like that. So I feel like when I was transitioning out of ball, I was already transitioning into, you know what I'm saying, into this world. So cool, like fast forward from that, coming back home and like, all right, I got to figure this thing out. So it was like, all right, I want to design my own stuff. So I don't think originally, I'm not really too sure if it was like this idea of like, oh, I want to have this huge brand one day or things like that. I kind of think it was something that was just like, all right, I'm about to get into it and see what I could do with it. And then just kind of find it along the way. So, boom, I remember YouTube University. Like, I don't got no, like, fashion school degree or nothing like that experience as far as that. It was like, all right, cool. Where can I learn? I need to learn this, and I need to learn it now. So, I'm on YouTube. I buy a sewing machine on YouTube, watching videos, DIY videos on how to sew. So, I went and bought a sewing machine. Can't even tell you where I got it from, but I went and bought a sewing machine. Came in, I went, bought some fabric. It was like a little cheap fabric store down the street from my mom's crib. Went and bought some fabric, and I just started playing around with it. I'm on YouTube, okay, pausing it every 5 seconds, trying to do this, pausing it, and just doing that over and over until I was like, all right, cool. Like I started getting it. I made like first shirt. I made a shirt, and it wasn't the best for sure. It was like, looking back at it now, it's terrible. You know what I'm saying? But it was just the fact is like, I just had this idea and I went and got a sewing machine. I'm on YouTube and I'm trying to figure this out. And I made a shirt. So it was cool. Like it didn't matter if it was the greatest shirt or not. It's like I made a shirt. So I made a couple of them and like some of my homies wanted to buy them. So I started like selling it to them. Just selling it straight to my homies. And then that's when I kind of knew like people was liking it and I was like, all right, I might be on to something. So I was like, okay, what could I do next? And that's what led me into, I'll get into that later as far as like getting into printing and all that type of stuff. But as far as like, that's how it was. I like from doing that and then, okay, that's how I started. And that's what got me into it. And then that led to me trying to figure out more technical stuff. It's like, okay, cool. I just sold a shirt, but I didn't have a pattern for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have a real pattern for it, put it like that. So it's like, okay, now I got introduced to pattern making. And then from pattern making, okay, the fabric I used for that first shirt wasn't the best fabric. So it's like, okay, now I get introduced to start understanding textiles and fabrics and stuff more. Like, all right, let me dive into that. And then going from there is like, all right, understanding just even the technical side even more is like down to the measurements to like, okay, I want my clothes to fit unisex, not just like a male's pair of pants and then a woman could wear it. It's like, okay, how can I cater to a woman's body but still fit a man properly and things like that. So that's like where I'm at, got to this point, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, it's a journey as far as like just continuing and getting better at it and stuff like that. And I also had help, you know, I was able to, when I was trying to like get into, you know, I realized like, okay, what I'm doing right now ain't working as far as like where I see myself and stuff like, and where I know I need to go. And I knew like, all right, I got to connect with somebody who could, you know, kind of like show me the way with this side of the, of it. Cause I had the designs and stuff in my head and things like that. I knew I didn't need help with nobody with my creative process and nothing like that. I just didn't know the technical stuff of it. So I remember like being in a situation where I needed like, I knew I needed a seamstress. I knew I needed a pattern maker, all that type of stuff. But I knew I was in Houston at the same time, so it's not really a market for that. So I'm all over the internet every single day trying to like figure something out. Like I'm on everything. I'm Googling, I'm on Craigslist, I'm on Fiverr, I'm on everything you could possibly even think of, just trying to find something in my city, somewhere, surrounding areas, something like that. You're not really finding that in Houston. It's more so if you know type situation. It's not like, it's not a market for that. So I remember just riding, it's probably like 2018. It's 2018. I remember riding through like Bel Air area, and it was at a point where I was like really kind of getting discouraged because I'm like, damn, like I got to make a move. Like I'm gonna have to go to LA. I'm gonna have to go somewhere else to try to like get this stuff going. And then from there, I remember driving through Bel Air, like I said, one day and seeing a house, and I saw a house and they had like a sewing sign that they sold and stuff in there. So I'm like, at this time, I'm desperate. Like, I'm like, I got to figure this out. So I remember just parking, getting out the car and just knocking on the door and then just like getting their information. I'm telling them like what I was trying to do, and then they scheduled me to come back. And then I came back, and I remember going, it was like my first kind of like sit down with them. And for sure, they ain't take me serious. Ain't take me serious and stuff like that just because I ain't have like no history of it. I ain't really know like the terminology, you know what I'm saying, and all that to a T and stuff like that. But I knew what I wanted, you know what I'm saying? So I was in there, like, sat down with them and was like, okay, I want this. I'm trying to make this. I'm trying to do this. What's the process of this? And then, you know, her name's Martha. She was able to help me. You know what I'm saying? She was able to help me. First, she wanted to see if I was serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, she wanted to see if I was serious. She kind of, like, told me we had a conversation. And then I was like, all right, cool. You gave me all this. I'm going to be back. So, and it's crazy because I laugh about this with her to this day because I'll be like, you ain't think I was coming back. You know what I'm saying? I saw it all in your face that day I left. But I came back and I was ready to, you know, get to work. And then, okay, boom, we started making patterns. We started grading. We started doing tech packs and stuff like that. So I'm getting, you know, hip to, okay, this goes into designing a piece. People will probably see the finishing product, but not knowing there's so much small technical stuff that goes in to make sure, okay, this fit right, it feels right on you. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that, you know, and just going through that experience with her and then continuously going through it, okay, making stuff with her and then just staying at it, you know what I'm saying? Staying at it and making more intricate designs, you know what I'm saying? From, okay, we did basic t-shirts, okay? Now we want to do puffer jackets. Now we want to do pants that got this amount of zippers, XYZ jackets that cropped, all, you know what I'm saying? All this type of more intricate designs and things like that. So that's what I feel like that's where I'm at now, you know what I'm saying? I know a lot more. Like now I know like, okay, I can see somebody know what size they wear. I know how to measure a garment the right way. I know pattern making. I know, you know, all that stuff. So it's like it's just an ongoing process.
Yeah. You work that muscle now, so it's like you kind of like feel like you more in your bag than you were when you first started, for sure. Man, let's go back real quick to man, No One's Ordinary. Where does that name come from? Like how did it like?
It's crazy because like I don't want to sit here and make up like, okay, I remember sitting on my mom's couch and like, you know, I don't want to do that. So I can't really like remember. I used to remember when people ask me, but I can't even remember like the exact like moment or how the name really came. Like I got an idea of how it came, but I'm not even gonna say it. But I know like the idea of it and where it stemmed from. But as far as like No One's Ordinary, it's like people tell me all the time, okay, it's a powerful name. And it's more like built behind the idea of like individuality. And it's like, okay, you may have your own style. We may wear the same thing. You may wear it your way. I may wear it my way and things like that. You may use, like, we're all using these clothes as a way to express ourselves and things like that at the end of the day. That's how I look at clothes and things like that. So it's like, all right, if I'm wearing something styled in a certain way, if you got your own style, you got your own style. Okay, that doesn't mean like I might wear it with this X, Y, Z or whatever, and have a lot more going on with it. But what I'm saying is like we all got our own individual style to where it's like none of us are ordinary, and it's like, okay, your style is your style. You just gotta stand in your style and find your style. It's like you don't got to get caught up in like, okay, let me mimic this, let me mimic that. It's like, okay, find your style, because when you find your style, that's how you're going to be able to express yourself through clothes, wearing clothes.
Yeah. No, that's dope. One day we're going to have to hear the other part of that story. So I don't want to necessarily dismiss like the stuff you did prior to, like, I don't know if you want to call this your official first drop or not, because, like, you had some stuff in the past that was like, all right, like, you grew from that, but but you know what I'm saying, no discredit to that.
We're not taking it.
But let's say this is, would you say this is officially your first drop? So officially this is your first drop. You titled the drop or the show that you had for the drop, An Array of Thoughts, right? And I know we talked and you were like, being that the pandemic happened and there's a lot of stuff going on before that, after that, during that, it was like you said you had like a bottled up amount of just like ideas and like things that you've been working on that's like you just want to get it out. It wasn't like anything necessarily played on top of each other, but overall everything that kind of came together. So like walk us through, like, what I'm saying, like what was the thought process behind thinking like, yo, I wanna put out a show this year. I want it to be on the first of the year. Wild stuff. And the name, like, what is that? An Array of Thoughts. Like, what was that?
All right, I'll start with like the idea of the show. I would say the idea of the show came from me working on this latest collection for a while. And I was working on it for a while, and I was just like, how do I want to put it out? How I want to put it out post-COVID, all of that is like, how do I want to put it out? And at the same time, I want to connect with people more than I ever have. So I was like thinking, I knew I had all the designs. I knew the clothes was going to be, people was going to love the clothes and things like that. But I was like, okay, how do I want to release it? And I would say, I was in New York this past September 2021, out there for Fashion Week. I was out there for a couple of weeks, actually, and just spent some time out there. And I was able to go to some shows and things like that. And even just outside the shows, it was like the atmosphere of New York at that time, New York Fashion Week, how people are just on 10, they hype, everybody's getting dressed, they in the streets, people are just outside, and it's like a real passion for it and stuff like that out there. You could just feel it. You could feel the energy of it when you out there. So that was something I fell in love with, as far as like, dang, I fell in love with the feeling. You know what I'm saying? I remember going to shows and like paparazzi just taking hundreds of photos of me, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm walking with my homie, and we turn the corner and it started happening to us, and we both stopped, like, cause we from Houston. This ain't never happened. You know what I'm saying? We've never even seen paparazzi before. We just see that on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we just see that on the internet. So we turn the corner and dudes just come. All you hearing is the camera noise, and then I'm like, so we both pause for a second and we look. We like, what the? And I'm telling him, he looking at me. I'm like, act normal, bro, act normal. So we just get back in mode and just walking. I'm like, act like we used to this. You know what I'm saying? And then, but I knew on the inside how that really made me feel. And then, okay, I actually went into those shows, got into those shows, and then actually experiencing those shows and just seeing the energy, the atmosphere, and just the hype around all of it. I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come back home and I'm gonna bring this same feeling I got out in New York to my town. And I'm gonna give people that same feeling. When people come up, I'm gonna have 20 photographers outside taking their pictures and stuff like that, giving them that same experience that I had. Everybody not gonna be able to go to New York and go to Fashion Week and hit them shows and do all of that type of stuff. But it's like, if I could bring that world to them, and it's my world at the end of the day, bringing them into my space, then I knew like, okay, it was gonna be really effective. So that's how the idea of the show came, and releasing this latest drop. The name, Array of Thoughts. All right, as far as the name, Array of Thoughts, man, it's a lot that go into it. From the last 2 years, even more than that, kind of just so much bottled up, like you said, like so many different emotions, so many different experiences, so much real life happening, losing people, from relationships to friends, homies, all of that, from just trying to work on these clothes with this manufacturer, this not going well, having to go over here, having to do that, just mixed emotions from everything. And then just like, I create personally from my personal experiences. So things that I actually go through and stuff like that, I find a way to be able to, communicate that through the garments. So for me, it was like, all right, I got all this in my head. I'm about to just put it out. Like, okay, this made me come up with the hoodie with this, this image, this symbolizing XYZ. And it's like, all right, that's relating to this certain situation in my life. And then, okay, I make the varsity jackets and it's relating to this type of situation in my life and this certain situation in my life. And for me, I'm not somebody who like big on like, all right, this the space collection. So this the outer space collection. So the t-shirt's going to have a moon on it. The hoodie's going to have Saturn and, you know what I'm saying, stars on it and things like that. For me, it was like, all right, I'm going to get all my thoughts out. I got all this in my head and I'm trying to express myself. I don't really talk as much. So I use clothes to express myself. So let me just put all this out without me having to do it vocally. So boom, that's how all the ideas came as far as all the garments. And it's still a cohesive collection at the end of the day. So it's still a cohesive collection. And that's how the name came. It was like, all right, I'm about to have a show. What I want to call a show. And it's just like, shoot, let me connect it to the clothes. And it's just like so many thoughts. So it's just like an array of thoughts.
So, boys have manufacturers and stuff now. It's big time. Like you said, like all that stuff's a process. And I feel like with this job, what you did was kind of put like a big stamp. You put a lot of eyes on you, like with not even like with just the fashion show, like the process behind it, which I want to talk about because like the campaigns and stuff that you had ideas for that we put together, the process is even like putting the ideas fully together, shooting everything, editing everything, putting it out. Like that time frame that we did that was like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's stuff that's like, yo, like that's pushing the needle further. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like, yo, if you really want to do this, like you say you want to do it, like let's do it. And I feel like you really, being that you was like the head of the ship, like you really like, you made stuff work. You made stuff not just work, you made stuff happen, really. So let's talk about that, like the process leading up to the show real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you feel coming up with the ideas, putting everything together, and just like as it was releasing, the love you was getting and like the anticipation from other people for the show?
With the campaigns, like all the videos that were shot, to market and put a lot of eyes on the brand, you know what I'm saying? Not even just going to say me, putting a lot of eyes on No One's Ordinary prior to the show. Like I said, it's been a like work in progress for a while. Like it's all been a process. So like my ideas come random. Like if you grab my phone, like somebody get my phone, it's like they'll see a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm somebody who I could be driving and see the weirdest thing and it could spark an idea that I could play off for this. And it'd be a way for me to be able to market this and stuff like that. And I hear it and got to put it in my notes. So I got long list of notes, like with everything. Like, so I had all this stuff mapped out to the T. Like, okay, when I drop this, I'm market it like this. And that's how my creative process is too. to kind of like go into that. Even when I'm sketching something and I'm coming up with the original design of something, start from beginning of an idea, just putting it on paper. I already think about how can I market this? You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I going to be able to present this to people through some type of video or pictures or whatever? So that's already from at the beginning of my creative process. So when it comes to like actually, all right, I got the final design here and it's time to like display it, it's already calculated, you know what I'm saying, way prior to that. So, you know, as far as the campaigns, should I realistically, I mean, being honest, like, I believe it was like probably like 6 videos. It was like 6 videos and they was shot in like a 2-week span. 2-week span, shot and edited and put out in a 2-week span. Some of them was edited same day, you know, like it was kind of brutal, you know, but it had to be done. It was crazy, you know what I'm saying? From like finding models last minute to finding locations to, all right, we need these props. How we gonna do this? How we gonna do that? All that type of stuff. And, you know, I had the ideas and things like that. Y'all came through as far as like, you know, helping me like make it a reality. But, you know, people always see like the finishing product, but they don't know the process of like, you know, all right, sure, you just shot this one and you edited it the same night, but it's like we got to be up at 7 a.m. to be at this location to shoot the next one. And it's like, all right, and we are also dropping one tonight at 7 p.m. You know what I'm saying? So people, they just see like, okay, they just scroll on Instagram and see it and it's like, all right, that was cool. You know, but not thinking about like, dang, this probably took a lot, you know what I'm saying, to even put out. So the campaigns and all that, like I said, it starts from me even just sketching the design and things like that. So it starts from the beginning. Yeah, I don't know. What was next?
We had a lot of conversation during that time too, and I think one of the biggest things we talked about was like the idea of like putting together, especially in Houston, like a core, like people like that actually want to work and get the stuff done. That's why when we talked, it was like, bro, we appreciated the 2 weeks that we had to work on this because it was like there was nobody complaining. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were just like, bro, what we got to get done, let's get it done. Like, of course, we're going to butt heads and like, all right, this look good, that look good. But, like, besides that, nobody was, like, fussing on actually doing the work. It was like, nah, bro, like, we going to get it edited. All right, let's do it. Like, we up 2 a.m., like, getting this stuff done. So we got to post it the next day, finish the idea for the next one so we can figure out how to shoot it, who we going to have in it. And everybody we work with is super dope. You know what I'm saying? From the crew that we work with to the models, like everybody was just super dope, and I feel like the reception was good, and I think that helped. I'm sure, like, and it was really what you know what I'm saying, what you planned and set out. Like, it helped towards the actual show, and like the experience that you wanted people to have and what they got from it. And I don't know, we also talked about that, and he was like, bro, it's crazy because what the people experienced versus like what, you know what I'm saying, us behind the scenes was doing, it was like completely different. But it's like what you wanted the people to experience, they experienced and more. So like talk a little bit about that. Like talk about like the behind the scenes experience of like actually putting the show together. Let people know before that like what you wanted the show to be, the actual process of putting the show together, and like how you felt during the show, and then versus what people was telling you they felt.
All right. The process of putting this show together was crazy because I never threw a show. I'm in Houston, so it's not like you've been to shows. It's not like you could go down the street and say, hey, I know you've been throwing shows for 10 years. Like, I'm trying to throw my first show. Can you help me with a video? Can you help me with lights? Can you help me with this and that? So for me, it was like internet. I'm even figuring out, I'm Googling how to light a fashion show. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling like, okay, certain people, I'm seeing on the internet, okay, get these type of lights. I'm calling light companies, hey, you got these lights, doing this, doing that. I'm seeing, okay, all right, you want white lights. Then, you know what I'm saying? To make sure the clothes, they getting the real colors with the photos. I'm thinking about all this stuff because I'm little stuff like that where people might not think like they people just come to the show just like, hey, flip the switch for the lights and let's get the show going. But it's like, it's little small stuff that, you know, that really matters. And, you know, I wanted a different feel. I wanted like bleachers in my show. So, okay, boom, let's find a bleacher company. You know what I'm saying? I'm going all over the place to find a bleacher company. And then especially my show is on New Year's Day. Nobody's trying to work New Year's Day. It's a holiday to them. So people trying to hit me over the head to, supply the bleachers and stuff like that. So, I had to do what I had to do because at the end of the day, I'm like, when I envisioned the show, how I thought about it for months, I had bleachers in my show. So was I going to not have bleachers? It was like, nah, I'm going to have bleachers. I'm just going to figure out a way to have bleachers. So just so much stuff like that, like from lights to even the seating, from me picking the venue. It was like, okay, I needed a venue that I was going to be able to have the layout I had in my head and just going to the venue 20 times before the show. You know what I'm saying? People don't see that. Okay, I went to the venue 20 times. I'm laying out the chairs and all of this. Like, I'm already putting myself there before the actual day of the show. So all of that, it's hectic for sure. Day of the show is hectic for sure. It's like, you kind of like, you got so many emotions. It's like, you're going to be excited, you're going to be nervous, you're going to be stressed. You're going to have all that. So I feel like that's where I was. I had some people that did help and things like that, it's like y'all, like so many other people who stepped in. I had family who came and supported, just looking out, and just people just wanted to help, especially like all the stuff we was doing. As far as like they put so much exposure to the brand, people was reaching out like, hey, I see this, you having a show, an event. I just want to be a part of it somehow. Like, if I got to take out the trash, I just trying to be in the venue, So even people like that, like I was able to, reach out to people and say, hey, bro, like, what do you do? You know what I'm saying? I got people that's gonna take the trash out, but it's like, all right, what do you do? And it's like, okay, I do X, Y, Z. So let's find something that you can do that could not just be beneficial to the brand and the show and to myself. It's like, all right, you could benefit from it as well. So it was a lot of people that came in like that who was able to get a dope experience and actually, kind of like add that to their resume. So those type of people stepping in, they helped a lot. And like day of the show, like we had cameras backstage so we could see people coming in and stuff like that. So it's like, the time ticking, you looking at the clock all day, it's like, dang, show's coming. You got 5 hours to the show, you got 6 hour show, you got 3 hours, 2 hours, it's like 30 minutes before the show. Everything wasn't going as planned, and stuff never do, you know what I'm saying? Never does. It's like, we had a few hiccups and things like that, certain stuff not done on time and all of that, but it was like, we're going to make it happen. So, and we made adjustments. Well, I say, we did rehearsals and things like that. Rehearsals, I felt good. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dang, this really finna happen and stuff like that. Like, and I'm seeing the models walk, boom, boom, seeing them, hearing the music and all of that. I'm like, it's up. So, boom, fast forward to like the actual people walking in, and I'm seeing, my mom and them come in, my aunt, my sister, and stuff like that. And then I'm seeing, friends. I'm seeing, just so many people around the city, all over Houston coming. I'm seeing people who flew in from New York, people who flew in from LA just to come to the show. I'm like, I'm backstage and I'm watching it on camera and I'm like, dang, it's filling up in here and stuff like that. My show was private, so I personally invited a lot of these people in, like, for a lot of them to, actually come. It meant something for sure. And especially because we don't really have stuff like this. So it's like, people don't even know what they getting themselves into, So just seeing that, y'all coming backstage, I'm like, how's it looking outside? Like, and you like, okay, it's a bunch of photographers outside taking people pictures and stuff like that. It looks dope. And I'm like, all right, cool. It's like, this what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? And, it's time for the show. I had, and things like that. It's like, oh, it's hectic now. You communicating with everybody. You got the DJ. You got to make sure the DJ on point. You got to make sure all the acts on point. You got to make sure, okay, I had a tribute. You got to make sure, all right, these people who about to do this tribute, they on point, all this stuff. So you thinking, you really depending on people, Yeah. And that's like one of the most stressful things to do, because it's like, I can't go be the doorman. I can't be the DJ. I can't be the designer. I can't be the model. I can't be all this at once. So it's like, you need everybody to just play their role. You know what I'm saying? Just to make this, not just like it's something for me, but it's something for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I talk about like no one's ordinary, I want people to know that, like, not just, okay, no one's ordinary, that's Huey. It's like, nah, no one's ordinary, that's us. You feel me? Like, so that's like the whole thing as far as like the show and stuff like that. Is like, it was for all of us, So, boom, from that, like being backstage, I wanted to, it's funny because like, if you watch like the behind the scenes and stuff like that, you'll see like the models like super happy, they joking around, like just having a good time. And then it's time for the show. It's like minutes before the show. Everybody like whole mood change. Like you seeing people super nervous now and this and that. So for me, I'm like, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna stay cool. I'm gonna be the one to stay cool because I see how nervous everybody else is. So just coming out, I wanted everybody to feel good. So I'm high fiving all the models, like, letting them know, like, everybody's about to do well. Like, let's go. And then so hearing like, all right, we had the tribute, and then the music coming from the tribute and things like that. And I'm seeing it, and I'm like, all right, boom, it's show started now. Show started. You got the people coming with the roses, dropping the roses. You got the music playing. You got the tribute playing. You got all of that stuff going on. And then we transition to the show. You see the music change. Then, okay, it's cue for the first models to walk out. Boom, first models walk out. And it's like, boom, you see everybody's phones go up. And I'm watching this stuff, and I'm like, boom, I'm like, damn, this happening. And then you seeing, like, I'm backstage, like, I'm seeing the models come exit. I'm seeing them go lead enter, and then I'm seeing them exit. Boom, and it just happening. And then, you just want it to be perfect. Because you see it a certain way. It's like, all right, you want everything perfect timing. You want them to walk at this beat. You know what I'm saying? The beat drop here. You want them to be step. Like, you want everything to be so perfect. And stuff never going to go as perfect. And at the same time, the crowd is not going to know that stuff. So, I'm backstage and I'm feeling good. I'm like, dang, like, it looks cool. I'm watching it for myself. I always try to, like, take myself out of situations so I could just try to, like, view it from a different point. So I'm watching it as like a fan, and I'm like, okay, this is really cool. Like, this whole thing is dope. So, boom, I'm at backstage. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited. I'm happy. It's going. And then, boom, it's coming down to where we had like the performance. After the performance, the models took their final stroll, and then it was time for me to go out and stuff like that. And it's like, all right, dang, like, it's really happening. And then it's like, cool, I come out, whatever, boom, hug, my people exit, and it's like, dang, the show over, because show is quick. Show over, boom. And then, people came and served everybody champagne, all that type of stuff. And then I'm just seeing this stuff. And then it's like, come out, everybody like, we taking pictures and all this stuff. It's just, showing love. People just feeling good. And I could tell like people would just appreciated that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just appreciated that moment, and that's really what it was all about. Like I said, like, was just giving people an experience. Like, end of the day, it's clothes. Like I say that all the time. People, it's just clothes. But it's about, like, people only gonna remember how you made them feel. You know what I'm saying? People may not remember every single outfit that was presented in the show, but they gonna remember, like, how did I feel when I went to that show and things like that. That was the ultimate goal, was like to make everybody feel a certain way. And I knew people felt a certain way because it was something that lingered more than just a day after the show, 2 days after the show. It was 2 weeks later, and you got people still posting. 3 weeks later, you got people still talking about it and things like that. And then just all the, like, messages and things I was getting from it and after and things like that. But if I talk about, like, myself, it's crazy because, like, somebody was asking me, like, post the show, was like, how you feel? And then I was just like, I kind of told him, like, I don't really know. Like, I don't really feel nothing. And I didn't know if that was negative or positive. I kind of was just like you said, like, how you felt with all the love that you was getting. And I feel like in the past, that probably would have been something that kind of, like, did something for me. But it's like different place in my life. I'm doing a lot of things now for different reasons. So it's like, and when I say, like, huh? Yeah, it's just a step. And for me, it was like, I had already experienced the show so many times already. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had already sat in my room, meditated, and thought about, like, and visualized the whole show, like, from people entering, people taking photos, people sitting down, where certain people was gonna be sitting, certain looks, people, models walking out, the certain songs DJ was playing, all that. So I had already been there so many times. So when it happened, it was just like, oh, I've been here before. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I already been here. So I would say that was it. That's like my feeling from it. But, like, one thing I did, I could say, like, what started to make me really feel something from the show was when I had, like, to even just go there, like, close homies, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of my brothers, Riley, just having him, like, we've been going through a lot these past few months and stuff, and just seeing, knowing where life is currently and stuff like that, and just seeing him, his mom came to the show, and then just seeing what the show did for him, and, like, seeing, like, him had this newfound energy and stuff like this, and him just, like, active now, getting up and actually making moves and actually doing stuff and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, I felt something from that. Seeing his mom, like, he telling me about how his mom, like, that show really inspired her to do certain things and stuff like that, not to really just go into so much detail, but, like, that was the stuff that, like, started to make me feel stuff. Like, all right, dang, like, all right, this actually meant something to people. It actually did things for people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had let one of my closest friends, he coached basketball, and he told me he had some kids that was, like, super into fashion. One wants to be a model, one wants to be a designer or something, which was crazy to me because, like, when I was coming up, that was never even a thought, like, what, a designer, a model? We didn't even know that type of stuff, like, existed. It was like, bro, is you hooping? Is you playing football? Or is you just, you know what I'm saying, doing other stuff? So to see that and him tell me, he was like, can I bring two people? And, like, I made arrangements for them to come. And then, like, him calling me days later, and he just like, hey, bro, you don't know what you did for them high school kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? And, like, and he just talking to me, expressing, like, certain things they were saying. And I'm like, all right, like, it was really an impact from the show and stuff like that. Like, people, because it's like, these is kids, like, if you a young kid, especially if you a young black kid, just being honest, like, and you could see yourself doing something outside of, like, the normal, like, what the only things we see ourselves doing, just being honest, is like, all right, you seeing yourself hooping, playing football, rapping, or something like sports to some type of entertainment stuff, and it's like, all right, now you got kids in high school saying they want to be designers, they want to be models and stuff like that. It's like, that shit kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that's when I started to actually feel something. But, like, all the, like, little stuff that, most people will probably feel as far as, like, the hype stuff and, all that type of stuff, that ain't really just do nothing for me.
Yeah, I know a lot of conversations we had. The big idea is to, like, curate that experience, like we talk about, like, for our type of people, for black people, like, curate the next level, like, when they see us, like, because we really super artistic, we really super talented, but, like, sometimes it gets thrown on the wayside just because of how it's presented. So it's, like, presented in another way now, and, like, really upscaling it to where, like, everybody wants to be a part of this, not just our people. It's made by us, but anybody can come into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is where, we see the growth, and that's what we're trying to cultivate, which is, super dope. Not to mention, bro, I know you ain't mentioned this, but, like, the big amount of online viewers that you had, like, we live streamed that jump.
So even just, like you said, live streaming it, and I'm gonna piggyback off of what you just said, but even live streaming it and just posting it one time and just seeing it's like 258, something like that. Yeah, it was like 200 plus people that streamed it live, and it's like, like, to just be, that's kind of, to me, that might not be a big deal to, like, some quote unquote big designers or whatever, but for me, that was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Especially for where I'm at and things like that. Like, seeing, okay, it was some people in this part of the world that wanted to tune in and stuff like that. That was crazy to me. That meant a lot. Like, when y'all showed me the numbers, I'm like, dang, and there's people watching over here and over there, stuff like that. That was crazy. But yeah, like you said, as far as, like, it's like what's trying to be built, or what's being built is, like, just a community, like, of, like we talked about, like, oftentimes, like, you could, like, create this, let's say you having an event or something, and, like, you trying to bring people into your world, to your idea, your thought you had, and it's like, instead of letting the people that's coming to the event dictate the experience, the vibe, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever, like, you controlling it, you know what I'm saying? And now it's like, that's like what we're doing, you know what I'm saying? That's what we're building, is, like, bringing people into our world, but it's their world as well. You know what I'm saying? And like not like and not section it off to where okay, it's only for these people or this people. Like nah, it's for anybody that's on this type of time. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who passionate about this, anybody who really into this, anybody who really cares about how they look. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just all of that is like anybody who feeling something when they, you know what I'm saying, from a video or on that you scrolled on your TL and you seen anybody who seen a certain outfit or anything and it gave you a certain feeling and it made you want to go do this or do that or do that. Like, this for you. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, for sure. Nah, bro, it was definitely an honor, bro, to be a part of all of this. You know what I'm saying? Last question here, just to, where is No One's Ordinary headed? Like, what's next?
I would say, man, it's headed so many different places. Like, I don't really like speaking on stuff because I like for stuff to just happen. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna act like on no super deep stuff. But like, for sure, more shows. You know, I'm gonna have another show. Not gonna give a date for it because you know you give dates. You know how that go. But have another show. You know, more drops. You know, I got a lot of stuff in the works. You know, especially even this past weekend being in New York. God bless me, opened so many doors for me. You know that I don't even want to speak on because I wanted to like, you know, play out and people to just see. All right, it's happening. You know what I'm saying? But like. Overall, for the goal, like, man, to even just talk about this past week of being in New York, I met some people in some high places, and they was asking me, like, they was seeing my brand, they really liked it, and they felt like it was really dope, you know what I'm saying? They felt like it was good. They was telling me how good, like, all right, you telling the story with your clothes, with your brand, and that's hard for people to do, and you do it exceptionally well and stuff like that. They were just telling me, like, a lot of good things I had going on. And they were asking me like, would you move out here? And they was like, asking me how I felt about moving to New York. And like, it's not something I'm against. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's where, you know, I be led, then that's where I go. But I was telling them like, nah, honestly, like that's not what I'm on. At least not right now. And they were like, why? And they kind of like didn't understand why. And I was explaining to them like, I was like, you know, I'm building something special at home right now. I was like, I'm building something special in Houston right now to where I feel like I'm at a point to where it may take some time. You know, time don't exist, but whatever. But I'm at a point where, all right, let's say people not used to this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like I'm bringing people into a different world, building a community around this stuff, and I'm like training them at the same time. You know what I'm saying? From, okay, we having a show and we sending out reference looks on what to wear to fashion shows for people and things like that. And it may sound crazy to people that come from other cultures and stuff like that, but it's like, we don't have that here. So it's like, all right, I've been in that world, but these people haven't been in that world. So okay, let's bridge the gap. So how can I bridge that gap? Okay, I could go spend time in New York, LA, and this year we go to Paris and all that stuff, but everybody not gonna be able to go there. So it's like, okay, all those experiences that I'm having there, how can I bridge the gap, boom, in my hometown, to connect those people to that? And it's like, all right, bring that to them, introduce it to them, and really teach them how to think. Like, try, like, walk them through this. You know what I'm saying? Introduce them to this world to where we building something. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm building. I'm saying we building something special here to where, you know, like, it's gonna be a lot of more PR, more stuff coming here. It's gonna be a lot more. It's gonna be a market for it and stuff like that because of what's being built. And I'm not saying I'm solely the person that's building it. It's other people that's out here doing their thing as well. And it's all like, you know what I'm saying, working together. And it's like, it's a good time. And I feel like we building something special. Like, No One's Ordinary is building something crazy. It's building something amazing. There's a lot of good energy around it. It's making people feel a certain type of way. It's inspiring people to, it may not be inspired to go design something, but it's inspiring you to go do something else and things like that. So I feel like you can't beat that. I feel like you can't beat that, and that type of energy is giving people. And yeah, like, that's how we rocking, and we ain't stopping for nothing, and it's coming. And if you ain't think the next one was coming, it's coming. More clothes coming, and it's happening. It's happening every single day, and it ain't stopping for nothing, nobody. Put it like that.
For sure, bro. Appreciate you sitting down with me, bro, and just recapping this last like month and two. Craziness of hard work going on, but like this shit's gonna be amazing, bro. I'm looking forward to what you got going on, and you know, keep rocking.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. Oof. That's your phone. We got it done.